Welcome. We're back. So the market in the morning started off red, and then in the afternoon, when the Fed had their release, huge bounce, one of the craziest bounces I've seen. Not in terms of like the percentage change, but just in terms of how quickly it happened. I mean, I don't remember the last time I saw the Nasdaq or the S&P or the QQQ jump as fast as they did. Obviously, it was pretty big news. I believe they're keeping interest rates the same. Again, please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not a news source. And then there's just some other things that they're also talking about, like extending the tax deadline, a bunch of other things. But yeah, I mean, it made for a great end to the day. It was like pretty much the last 2 hours of the day were just an insane rally across the market, pretty much in most of the sectors. A lot of things were red in the morning, then they went over to green in the afternoon. So it was a very nice bounce. Before we even talk about the market, I'm just going to look at Bitcoin real quick. It's at 59,200. So I like how it's gotten back over 57,500, which was that previous all-time high from right over here. Definitely like how it's back above that. If it can hold above it, great. I've been showing this area, this box, like this green rectangle for days now. And you're just kind of hoping that you can hold above 57.5K and that this bearish divergence on the daily does not play out, because you have classic bearish divergence on the daily MACD, triple classic bearish divergence on the RSI on the daily, and then on the 4 hour you actually don't have bearish divergence. You did for a little bit. It pretty much made you come back to down over here, but now that's already over, and it kind of looks like you have hidden bullish divergence now on, for sure, the RSI on the 4 hour, and then debatably on the MACD on the 4 hour if you ignore this one island in between. But yeah, Bitcoin moving up with the rest of the market. I think Bitcoin was down 2% today, like right before the Fed talk and everything, and then pretty much right after that with the market rallied. And then the inverse happened on the dollar, which had a pretty bad fall right away when that came out, when the news came out. Pretty big fall, which is good for equities. It's good for the stocks and for crypto. And then also the VIX, the volatility index, fell pretty instantly as well. And yeah, let's go talk about the S&P and everything else. Futures currently are pretty much at all-time highs on the S&P, the highest that they've ever been in the history of the stock market. And as long as you're above 39.59 on S&P futures, I'm pretty bullish. I mean, of course, you could easily fall under 39.59. You're not above it by that much. But as long as you're above 39.59, I'm bullish in this whole entire area. Really, like, let me go back to the daily. I'm literally bullish on the S&P if you're above 39.59, unless you get to the top of the broadening wedge again. If you get to the top of the broadening wedge again and then you show like bearish divergence or something, that's when I get concerned, because every time it's gotten to the top of the wedge, the market has fallen. But you still have a lot of breathing room just to get to the top. Pretty close to 4,000 on the S&P 500. I mean, I would be surprised if we did not at least just test it, just to say that we did test 4,000 on the S&P. So only $24 off of that in terms of the futures. So nice stuff there. Remember this daily hidden bullish divergence. I mean, what a rally it's been. If you remember, I think it was like 2 Fridays ago, whatever. Pretty much, yeah, on March 5th. If you followed me on Twitter, if you were in the Discord, I mean, did I not say that I thought that the bottom was in right when we were at the bottom? Like, technicals really, really work. And I'm going to show you how they actually worked on a 5-minute chart, a very unreliable time frame. Today, the technicals worked out beautifully on the 5-minute chart. I'm going to show you that as well. But I mean, ever since this low over here on the S&P 500, which is when I put out like alerts on Discord and Twitter that I thought that the market was bottomed out for the short term, it's just been a very, very nice rally. You've only had 2 red days on the S&P since March 5th. So it's one of probably the biggest rally we've had in this whole entire pattern right here. Let me just verify that, at least on the futures. So that was a 6% move, probably about the same. This is actually, yeah, this is more. I mean, no, not yet. It's about the same. They were both about 7% moves. So very strong move. I mean, if you would have gotten like SPY calls or something like 2 weeks out back on that day when I was saying I thought the market was going to bounce, you'd probably be up thousands of percent. Not thousands, but you get what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people were panicking down here, and if you would have went like into calls for a couple weeks out, you'd be up a lot, right? But now we're here, and as long as we're above 39.59 on futures, I'm bullish on the S&P. I mean, from a fundamental standpoint, stimulus is pretty much getting into most people's accounts, I believe, pretty much like right around now. And then there's like estimates that a good amount of that money people are going to be transferring from their banks over to their brokerages. So we'll see when that, you know, happens or not, or if it's already happening with instant buying power now. But let's actually look at the regular S&P. Pretty much the same exact analysis as the S&P futures. On futures, I want you to stay above 39.59. On the actual S&P, I want you to stay above 39.30. I'm just going off of those previous resistance areas, right? If I just mark it right over there. So yeah, futures move a little bit, we'll know, but they're currently at their session highs. Wow. Futures are up 0.37% on the S&P. All-time highs, session highs. It's looking good for now. Of course, anything can change overnight. We already did have a nice rally, so it would not be crazy to see a little bit of a dip or whatever, but for now they look great. And then the NASDAQ, if you've watched the stream last night, I showed you the inverse head and shoulders that was forming on the QQQ and the NASDAQ. You still have not broken above the neckline on either the QQQ or the NASDAQ. On QQQ, you need to break 324. On the NASDAQ, you need to break like 13.6K. So you still haven't broken that. You even tested again today and you could not break it, but again, if you follow me on Twitter at Champion Vibe, the market opened red, and it wasn't terrible. I think it was down like 1.5% on the NASDAQ at the lows, but it was definitely a red open. And let me go. I think it was on what time frame was I looking at? Trying to find out like the area. I don't think I saved the chart because it was like on the 5-minute, but this was it. Yep. All right, so you pretty much gapped down at the open on the NASDAQ. You gapped down to here, then you rallied in like the first half an hour of the day, then you dropped again, right? So after you made that drop, I was looking at the 5-minute chart on the NASDAQ, okay? And you were breaking this supply line, and then you eventually even put in like an inverse head and shoulders, and this was really your inverse head and shoulders, just to draw it out real quick. This is a 5-minute chart. Like 5-minute charts are pretty unreliable compared to higher time frames, but the 5-minute technicals were looking great on the NASDAQ, and I tweeted out that you could probably see an intraday bounce pretty much right when you were around the session lows. This is when I put out that tweet. Also in the Discord, I shared this chart before you broke out of it. You were testing that neckline, you dipped a little bit, and then obviously the news catalyst came for the push. So of course, 100% there was luck there. What if the news went the other way? You probably wouldn't have played out, right? But again, you know, as Mitch Ray says on my TV right now, show me the charts and I'll tell you the news, right? You're seeing how the people are psychologically reacting to certain levels, and today it happened to work out on the 5-minute, and just what a run. We're looking at the 5-minute chart right now. Huge run. Then you went back up. You went right up to that neckline of the inverse head and shoulders, and that's where you pull back. And even when we were testing the neckline, I alerted the Discord that we were testing the neckline. So futures on the NASDAQ worked very, very well today. Pretty easy to literally anticipate what was going to happen. And then obviously the news just pushed everything. So yeah, that's like the story of the indexes. you're still at make or break areas for tech, for the NASDAQ and for the QQQ. So I'm a little bit more bullish on the S&P than I am for the NASDAQ, just because on the NASDAQ, you're still in a potential make or break area unless you can get above 13.6K. But if you break 13.6K, then I'm pretty bullish on the NASDAQ. We'll see if it can happen first. Futures are doing all right now. And yeah, that recaps pretty much, all the indexes and then also Bitcoin. Hopefully that helped. We even looked at the dollar and the VIX. I mean, even looking at the volatility index, you're kind of like breaking under this support, which is good. You want this to go down. So you're kind of breaking the 19.6 support on the VIX. But of course, anything can change overnight. And that really recaps everything from today. Make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You want to send me a tip or get some merchandise like the hat I'm wearing. It's the pinned comment in the chat, the first link in the description. So yeah, hopefully those alerts on the market during the day helped you out. Let's go look at the trades, or the trade sheet for this week. All right, so NBIO already hit the target on Monday for a 22% gain. Really, a lot of the trades were kind of like flat. A couple of them were down like 1 or 2%. A couple of them were up a few percent. But overall, like if you're just going from the entries of the swing trades till the current prices or the prices at close, it's still a very, very net positive sheet. I mean, XPV is up 31% since the entry. Clover is up 23% since the first entry. It's up 36% since the lower entry, which was pretty much the all-time low. Palantir up 7%, Fubo 7%, A2TL 7%, and then I'm not even going to really just go around the rest just because you can see it right here, and we're going to go look at the charts anyways. But BigCommerce, after 3 weeks, right? The BigCommerce trade was from this week. After 3 weeks, it finally went down to the stop level. It even closed the candle under support. I mean, if the market rallies, of course, BigCommerce can obviously rally. It's pretty much at an all-time low. So it's always your choice on what you want to do. It's just, you broke your support. If you can get back above it, great. But who knows if you will. That's why, as a trader, you win some, you lose some. Maybe the stop loss helps you here, maybe it doesn't. It's always your choice. I can put out the trade ideas, but they're never financial advice. At the end of the day, it's always up to you to decide what exactly you want to do based on your risk tolerance and your time frame of trading, whatever it is. So yeah, let's go look at the actual charts from the trades. And let me put my brightness up. Let's go start with Clover. But before I do, not too sure what's going on. No vibes tonight. I don't know. Did everybody just not have a good day today? St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Just not catching too many vibes. Only 20 likes. Chat's really, really slow. Show some support. What's up? How's everybody doing? Let me know. Type something in the chat. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Check out the pinned chat if you want to send me a tip. We're going to go over some charts. Do the same thing we do every single night. Let's get the vibes up a little bit. I see some more likes dropping in. But aside from that, let's start off with Clover. So Clover opened up pretty harshly. Not too well. It was down maybe 4 or 5%. But the lowest point of the day on Clover was 825, and that was another perfect back test, right? So this is your broadening wedge pattern. You broke out of it on, I think that was Monday. No, on last Friday you broke out of it. Then you've pretty much spent Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. Friday's not even happened. You've pretty much spent Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday this week back testing and flipping your previous resistance into a support on Clover. Okay? And that's really what you want to do when you break out of a broadening wedge. The buyers are confirming that what was once your resistance is now a support. And then, of course, when the market rallied in the afternoon, so did Clover. It has a lot of correlation with the NASDAQ. I was comparing the charts side by side today. They were kind of moving similarly the whole entire day, except for the final 10-15 minutes of the market. That's when they kind of went their separate ways. In the final 10-15 minutes of the day, the NASDAQ started dipping when it was testing the neckline, and Clover was actually going up in the final 15 minutes of the day. And I'm going to go look at the other time frames. I like how Clover closed above $8.70. Why do I say that? Because look at this. So you see this orange line, 868. It was your resistance on this candle. Resistance, resistance, resistance. Didn't mean to move that. Then it was your support over here, support over here, support over here. If you're looking at the low time frames, it's a pretty important level, and you're finally finding support over it again. So I like that. Even if we're looking at that original upsloping channel, you got back into it. You broke out of like a little supply line today. I'm just gonna make that like a yellow line so you can see what I'm talking about. You broke that. So nice stuff on the low time frames. The daily also looks good. The only time frame that doesn't look great on Clover is the 4 hour, because you do have some hidden bearish divergence developing. I mean, if Clover has a big day tomorrow, that'll probably get canceled out. But if it does not have a good day tomorrow, even if it's like flat, or if it's a red day for Clover tomorrow, then this will probably continue developing, which is not good. So the only time frame that doesn't look too great on Clover is the 4 hour. I mean, I don't think you're back above the demand line on the 4 hour. Yeah. So like the 1 hour and the daily look good for Clover, but the 4 hour not so much. Friggin' Cards, a real one, been here for a while with the $10 donation. Thank you very much. Let me fix my audio. Okay. Friggin' Cards says, vibes, happy St. Patty's Day, same to you. Appreciate the $10 very, very much. If anybody else wants to send a tip, that's a pinned comment in the chat. Thank you, Friggin' Cards. So that's Clover, and then so basically right at the close, huge buy orders came in for Clover. Like, I'm talking huge buy orders. I don't remember the exact amount of shares, but it was like, I think it was around like $30 to $40 million worth of shares that were purchased, like literally right at the close. You had a huge volume spike right at the close as well. Look at the volume bars right over here. Very big volume spike. I don't remember the exact numbers, so don't quote me on what I just said, but just to know that there was a lot of shares bought right at the close, according to Webull, TD Ameritrade. I think there was one other platform that showed it as well. Even can't even think right now. Even TradingView is showing the volume on that, so I think it was pretty real. I mean, multiple brokerages were reporting it, and the volume also showed it. I don't know if it was a glitch, especially since it was being shown on multiple different like trading platforms. But I mean, who knows who it was? It could have been anybody, right? Well, I guess we'll find out how that affects things tomorrow. After hours, Clover went up like 2%, but then it fell back down, pretty much closed around the same price after hours than when it closed at during the day. D with the 1111 donation. If anyone wants to send a tip, it's a pinned comment in the chat. Saying it one more time for me, because I definitely do say it a decent amount. But yeah, thank you very, very much, D, with the 1111, the lucky donation. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. And you already said it for me, so I'm not gonna say it again. Do big orders like that take time to reflect? Well, it's interesting because from a supply and demand level, if somebody bought up, I think it was like a couple percent of the actual market cap worth of shares. Like, I think it was between like anywhere between like 1 to 4% of the market cap is what somebody bought in shares. I don't know what the exact market cap is right now, so I can't give you like the exact percentage that was bought in shares, but it was a huge order. It was like a bunch of different orders. I don't know if it was from one person / institution or if it was a lot of different people, but it was a lot of orders. If you're doing it through the brokerages, it probably should move up the price because of supply and demand. You'd be breaking the sell walls, you'd be clearing people's sell orders. But I believe if you do it through a dark pool print, or however that works, kind of like the private bankers getting shares for institutions and stuff, look into dark pools on Google. But if you do it through that, I think it doesn't really affect the price. So it might have been done through like the block trading. But again, do your own research. I'm just trying to report to you my understanding of what happened. I could completely be wrong. I don't like ever saying things with a certainty, just because we know how news can be nowadays. So I'm not a news source. I just have to say that, even though I feel like it's pretty straightforward. And yeah, that's Clover. Hopefully that explanation helped. I mean, just looking at the daily, the trade's already up a lot. If you gotten at the first entry, you're up 23%. If you gotten at the lower entry, you're going to be up like 36%. So you're already a lot in profit if you got into this latest trade I put out on Clover. But I'm not even lying. Like, if you can break this level right over here, let me show you. If you can break this level, this little resistance around like $9.07, which you're not too far away from with the move up today, if you break that level, there's pretty low resistance until like $10. I'm not joking. I mean, you just look left, like there's really not much resistance until $10, which that would be a resistance because it was your support back over here in November. But aside from that, you have like a little minor one at 920, but you were testing 907 like 3 times yesterday. You know, you would just figure that if you broke it this time, that would be a pretty important breakout. And I don't know, maybe you don't move, maybe you break over 907, then you fall again. But I do think if it can break 907, just based on supply and demand, you could see a very nice continuation. But we'll see what happens. That's Clover. XPV, pretty flat day. Trades up 31%, literally the same exact things yesterday. XPV pretty much, it dipped in the morning with the market, then it bounced back up with the market in the afternoon, pretty much closed where it opened. Literally nothing has changed since yesterday when I went over XPV on stream. You're still very, very nicely in profit. If you want to set a stop loss in profit, go for it, but you're still pretty nicely in profit. That first target is like 40 bucks. You kind of topped out right over here. Look at this. I'm going to delete the harmonic for a second. This is kind of where you found your resistance, right? This previous low from December 28th is kind of your high from yesterday. So that's also resistance. Like 37.50 is another resistance. Let me just redo that. But that's really it. I mean, maybe you get to the target soon, maybe you don't. Just however you want to manage your risk, go for it. Not too much to talk about there. DCPH, the long-term trade, had a 4% day today, so nice. I mean, you still have the quadruple classic bullish divergence on the daily. I like how you're back above 43 bucks. Looks great. Again, I don't want to spend too much time on these because I've been going over them every night and not much has changed. This is a very long-term trade. I'm not really concerned with the 4% day when we're going for huge targets in the long term. So I'm not too concerned with 4%. It can go up 4%, go down 4%. It's a long-term trade. Just give it some time. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but we all hope it does. Technical still completely fine there. So not too much to talk about. Cheddar Freeze, love thumbnail. Yeah, so I forgot to completely say it. Cheddar Freeze actually made up the thumbnail. I put a couple other things on it, but yeah, thank you, Cheddar Freeze. That was pretty funny when I saw it today in the Discord. So shout out Cheddar Freeze for the thumbnail. Ubo, yeah, like I hate saying this for all the trades I'm going over, but not much has changed. Most of the trades just had a flat day today. They started off red, then they went from red to green, and they kind of closed like a little bit flat. So technicals are the same. On the daily, still looks good. 4 hour is showing a little bit of hidden bearish divergence. So tomorrow's a big day for a lot of stocks in terms of many individual stocks are showing 4 hour hidden bearish divergence. If you can have a green day tomorrow, you can invalidate that hidden bearish divergence. You can't have a green day tomorrow on them. It'll probably continue to develop. So we'll see what happens there. I'm just gonna honestly run through these a little bit quicker, I guess, but ATRA looking pretty decent. In terms of the actual chart, it looks good. You're holding $16. You're holding the 200-day moving average. Kind of looks like an inverse head and shoulders. I'm not even going to chart it. You could probably just eye it. Kind of looks like an inverse head and shoulders. However, the MACD is again showing some 4 hour hidden bearish divergence. It's not confirmed yet, but it is potential. All right. So a lot of stocks. I just showed you like 3 or 4 stocks in a row that have potential 4 hour hidden bearish divergence, but it needs to confirm first, and you're doing all right for right now. So yeah, this is FEYE. I really want this to really hold above 2044. It was your resistance in the beginning of the trade. Then you fell under it this morning. Now you kind of closed right at it. So we'll see if it can really hold above that. This trade's been going on for a while, but I mean, patience. It's a swing trade. Never said it was going to be 1 to 2 days. It could take up to a month. You know, who knows? But for right now, trade's up, I think, like 4%. Yeah, like 4.5%. Palantir goes down 1.5% today. Potential hidden bearish divergence yet again. That's why I'm saying, like, on a lot of these stocks, you have 4 hour potential hidden bearish divergence. So when you're trading tomorrow, watch your 4 hour charts and look at the MACD. If your MACDs go to red, take some caution. If they don't go to red and they start building back up again, right? So if it puts in a green bar like this, I know it's really hard to, I can't really draw it that well, but you know what I'm saying? If it starts gaining positive momentum again, then that's exactly what you want. You want it to invalidate it. But it's there, and I'm telling you right now, okay? Tilray, That trade was put out yesterday. Trade started down, I think, a few percent, and it rallied up with the market in the afternoon, and the trade pretty much closed a little bit above the entry. So nice stuff there. I like how it's back above 27 bucks. And it was up a couple percent after hours as well. I think Sundial reported earnings or something, and that kind of, maybe it was like a empathy move, but hidden bullish divergence, I said that correctly, is still developing. Looks good for right now. Yet again, pretty much the same story on most of these. They're holding supports. They had a nice needed move in the afternoon, but there is potential bearish divergence on the 4 hour for a lot of the trades and a lot of stocks in general. AUTL it's really trying. It's trying to break out. It has not broken out yet. It's a pretty long-term trade. Even if you go sideways tomorrow, you're probably going to break out. The only way you don't break out tomorrow is if you like drop. So if you even just have a flat day tomorrow, this can break out. Looks pretty decent. Divergence looks great. It's testing the breakout. This is where you want it to be breaking out. You don't want it to come all the way back down, because that'll probably stop you out if it goes back to the demand line. So this is where you want it to break out. You want this to break out literally like tomorrow or Friday. RBA trades down a couple percent. It's a long-term trade. I think I put this out on Monday. As long as you're holding this 55 level, you're good, which was your support right over here. Even if you break that, you still have, like, as long as you're holding 56, you're good, which was your support right here. But even if you break that, you have 55, which was the neckline of the double bottom. So again, you do have supports even before the stop loss. Trades just down a little bit. We'll see what happens. BISL, right at the entry. Same exact hidden bullish divergence on the daily. Nothing has changed since I learned the trade. So don't need to spend too much time there. We've talked about the last 2 nights or however long. Looks okay for right now. Let's see if it has potential bearish divergence like the others. No, actually does not have. Well, if you include this little like 2-bar MACD island, then yes, it does. So again, just watch your 4-hour MACDs tomorrow. This is what you want them to do. This is what you want your 4-hour MACDs to do, okay? You see how this MACD was super close to going down to red, but then it started building positive momentum again? This is what you're looking for tomorrow on a lot of the trades, because a lot of the trades are like right over here, where they're pretty close to red, but they're not there yet. You want them to do this. You want them to invalidate it. And if futures can hold up, which currently they are, then there's a decent chance on a bunch of trades. And you're still holding supports as well. So these are the 2 new trades I put out today. The first one is Baba, and looks pretty good. Mitch Ray was actually looking at it on his stream tonight. Somebody requested it, and he also really liked the chart, so that's great to see. Double bottom looks pretty good. As long as you can hold 231, you're great. I mean, you're perfect. This was your resistance, 231, right over here as well, and you broke above that today. Hidden bullish divergence looks amazing on the daily, and we go on the 4-hour. I think he was also, I didn't even realize this, but Mitch Ray was also showing that on the RSI, there is some class B, classic bullish divergence, which means you made the same exact low on price, or actually a little bit of a lower low on price, and then you made that higher low on your RSI. So nice stuff there. And trades off to a nice start. It did pull back, towards the end of the day, but good move. Trades in profit. And then KNDI trades also a little bit in profit, maybe up like I think 1%. And this was also alerted today. Still around the entry. I like how it closed. Let's see. It closed over the 200-day moving average. So good stuff there. Classic bullish divergence on the daily. And then classic bullish divergence was there on the 4-hour, but let's see. Yep, just like all the other things I've been showing you, it has potential hidden bearish divergence on the 4-hour. So that's why you want a good day tomorrow for a lot of these stocks. Not just because you always want a good day, but because if you don't have a good day, they're close to confirming bearish divergences, and you don't want that. So tomorrow's like your day where you want to invalidate the bearish divergences. And then if we go on like the 1-hour, pretty clear looking inverse head and shoulders type structure. So you want to break out of this green supply line as well. So those are the 2 new trades. And yeah, I mean, I even showed this to you all last night on stream. And then I just waited until the market opened today, and then pretty much when the market was like falling in the morning is when I put out this trade. It fell a little bit more when I first put it out, but then it ended up closing a little bit higher than I put out the trade. And then this is another stock that I'm looking at right now. It's JMIA, Jumia. Looks pretty interesting. where you can see that you kind of have hidden bullish divergence on the 4-hour if you ignore this little wick right here. But on the daily, you kind of have that hidden bullish divergence, right? Just chart that real quick. On the RSI and MACD. Then if we go over to the 4-hour, let me take this out. You're showing an inverse head and shoulders. What am I doing? So you're showing an inverse head and shoulders on the 4-hour chart. The one argument that could be made for JMIA is, so this looks like an inverse head and shoulders, but one could argue that this also looks like a regular head and shoulders, right? You get what I'm saying? So it could be looked at both ways, but it's pretty easy to manage your risk, because what you want to do is you want to break this supply line. If you can break this supply line tomorrow, right, that would mean that you're probably going to be invalidating the regular head and shoulders and you'd be breaking out of the inverse head and shoulders. So it's kind of like, it could work both ways, but that hidden bullish divergence does help give a little bit more probability for the bulls. And it's not too hard to manage your risk here. I mean, you could just manage your risk something like this. Your entry could just be around here. That was the wrong way. Right, your entry could just be around here. You could pretty much target, this resistance right over here, 61 bucks, which was your support. It could be your resistance again. You could pretty much target like a little bit under that as your first target, and then you could throw your stop loss under these candle lows right over here, right? And then you get a 3 reward to risk. And then you could even go for a second target, which would probably just be the measured move of the inverse head and shoulders, which would be a great target if it got confirmed. So let's try and chart what the second target could be. Let me just put in the prices. What was that? 49.03. Pretty much the same thing. Okay. So let me just make sure I have like the same entry. Okay, so you would be getting a 3 reward to risk on the first target, and then you'd be getting a 6 reward to risk on the second target. Does that also line up with the fib level? No, it's way under the fib level. So your second target, you could go for the 1272 if you really were bullish on this long term as like a super long term target, but that's just like the, you could even just go for the previous all-time high. Just, you get it, like this area could be like a second target, because if you break 61 bucks, then you could definitely retest your all-time highs. So I haven't put out this trade officially, but it's just something I'm looking at. We'll see if it can break that supply line or not. Pretty easy to manage your risk regardless. That's JMIA. Just wanted to bring it up. I don't know, maybe it was educational. And yeah, that recaps everything. Talked about Bitcoin, talked about futures, stock market, all the trades, a potential new trade, which I need some more confirmation on, but we'll see what happens. And yeah, hopefully that helped. Keep hitting that like button. Let's get to 40 likes. Still seeing some low vibes tonight. I don't know what's up. Maybe everybody's just a little bit tired from partying today or whatever it was. But hopefully everybody had a good day. Not even just in the market, but just on the holiday. I know it's not a holiday for everybody, but for people who it was a holiday for. So yeah, just checking out the chat right now. Is that 200? So I have the 200 simple moving average. You could use the exponential moving averages. It just comes down to your preference, but they both work. But it's the 200 SMA that I'm using. Bubo. Let's see what happens. Yeah, that pretty much covers everything from today. UWMC had a good day. Yeah, it actually kind of broke out of this channel. So that looks pretty good on UWMC. Joshua R with the $5 donation. Very simple message. Just said vibes. Really appreciate the $5. Thank you very much. And Marcus in the chat just doing dishes. Okay. But yeah, looking at UWMC, it looks like it broke out of the pattern. It could be a fake out, who knows? But you even broke this little resistance right there. So yeah, that was pretty much a confirmed breakout today on UWMC. Of course, you might want like a back test, flipping the resistance into a support for more confirmation, but Just something I noticed because we did trade this huge move on UWMC. Imagine Clover did that. That would be so cool. Because it was like a Clover and UWMC have had very similar patterns. They both had bullish crabs with like divergence, like triple divergence. This one had quadruple, but there was obviously, you know, catalysts and stuff for UWMC. There's not really any catalysts for Clover, at least for now. But I just wanted to bring that up. Just looking through my watch list right now. TNK was up 5% today. TNK, we put out this trade on it. Did it? So it apparently hit the actual target today. I think I might have. I don't know. Let me go check this out 1 second. Where was which week was TNK? Was it last week? Yeah, 11%. Okay, so I think really that trade actually hit the actual target today for 19% profits. But I think what happened was like the market was having a weird day, and I just kind of was like, maybe it could fall here. I'm not too sure. That's just the thing. Like, you know, a lot of times when you're not going with the original trade idea, it's either going to help you or it's going to not help you, right? If you have a trade idea and during the trade you kind of change up your idea, it's really a 50-50, because on one hand, changing up your idea might have been a good decision, and let's say if you took profits early, the price actually stopped going up, that would be a good decision. On the other hand, sometimes changing your plan is not a good idea, where like, for example, on the TNK trade, also on the SNDL trade, if you guys remember it, you know, sometimes taking profits too early just because there's something bearish on the chart, you know, you get a little bit of a dip, but then you eventually run and hit the target. Just, it's always a 50-50 there. That's why I would say it's always your decision, especially if the trade's a winning trade, you know. I don't know, I'm just going through things on my watch list right now. UVXY was down today. Oh my gosh, yeah, this trade got stopped out. This is why you use stop losses, everybody. Because if you did not stop out, you'd be down like 24%. So that's why you definitely use stop losses. I know it sucks, it got stopped out, but look, this was the week that it got stopped out on. Right over here. That's really bright. Look, right, it was last week. Like, okay, fine, UVXY got stopped out, but look at everything else, right? That's why, that's with hedging, you're just trying to manage your risk, not like a normal trade. I don't know, I'm just going through things on my watch list right now. Take a look at Fisker. I like how it's holding 21. It kind of got back above it. It was falling under it, but it got back above it. Maybe some divergence could help out. Bar was saying with 317, appreciate it. That's the date today, right? March 17th, yeah. Pretty ironic, or probably intended, but I'm not too sure. Thank you very much. Same to you, appreciate it. And yeah. Have you looked at any NFT plays for the upcoming days? I don't even know what stocks are NFT stocks. I haven't even done any research on that, but from what I heard, NFT stocks were like going crazy today. So yeah, that pretty much recapped everything for the day. Appreciate the tips coming in. Hit that like button. Let's get to 40 likes. Hit that subscribe button. If you want to send a tip, it's the pinned comment in the chat. Okay. Yeah, drop some takers in the chat. We'll take a look at some. Don't request something that was up 55%. Don't request something that was IPO'd like last week. I'm not going to be able to give you an answer. That's not how I trade. To each their own. So give me something consistent with enough data for me to actually help you out, or try to help you out. So I'm going to start off with AMWL. Alright. We've actually traded AMWL before. It hit the target, and I think it went way above the target too. So it looks very similar to BigCommerce actually. It's like at that all-time low, trying to hold on to something. Potential, you know, it's a make or break area. Sure, one could definitely just go along here, target maybe this gap fill at 27 bucks, and just throw their stop loss under those lows. It's literally a 50-50 on whether the trade works out or doesn't, because you're at a make or break area. Flip a coin, as Mitch Ray would say, and that could be your answer, right? But again, you could put on a trade here where you're going to be risking a very low amount to try and gain a decent amount because it's at a value area. The thing is, if you break this support, then you don't have any supports and it could continue dropping. So that's like the, you know, the issue, not the issue, but that's really what you're kind of debating when you're entering things in these areas, when they're like right under the supports or right at the supports, but also at all-time lows, trying to double bottom. It's a little bit 50-50. CRDF looks pretty good. If you can hold above 10, this looks pretty decent. Hidden, I mean, classic bullish divergence on the daily. It's already confirmed. Classic bullish divergence on the 4-hour. Champion, the GOAT, donated 569. Adam, best stock ever. 300 price target end of the year. We'll take a look at it. Appreciate the 569. So yeah, we'll take a look at it. What was the ticker? Adam. Let's see what's up with that. But yeah, just to finish off CRDF. You look good as long as you can hold $10. You can hold $10, great. Major support. Let's see. I mean, not like textbook divergence because you made a lower low on price and on the MACD, but if you're just going off of this one MACD island, your price has been going down when your MACD was going up, and you've got a MACD crossover to green, so that's good. You're in this interesting area though, I'd say like that, right? Yeah. You definitely want to get above $28 because $28 was your support over here. And once you broke $28 over here, you know, the price went down like 30%. So you very desperately want to get back above $28. If you can do that, then sure. I mean, sure. It's in a really parabolic trend. I don't know if you're fundamentally bullish on this company. So if you are, I can't really give you an answer because I don't know anything about the company. But yeah, if you can get above 28, sure, it can rally. You cannot get above 28. Unfortunately, your support's like $20. Just because there's not much data in this range right here, right? Pretty much straight up over here, and straight down over here, but then straight up again. So those are the levels. Really all I can do with this, but yeah, appreciate the tip. IDEX. I think I lined up this like potential trade for you all on stream. I never put it out or anything, but that was a really interesting beat drop. IDEX still looks pretty decent as long as you can hold above $3. Like I said, looks pretty decent. You're still showing hidden bullish divergence on the daily, and you're holding above $3. Same exact idea. As long as you're over $3, you're fine. Plug. Didn't they have the accounting issue, or was that another company? I don't know. It was down 8% today, gap down. I guess the support you want to hold is, yeah, huge support, $37. Okay, look at this. 37 was your resistance right over here in December of last year, and now it's your support. This is why you always want to be zooming out and looking into the past, right? So you want to hold above 37, that's your make or break area. You're actually completely fine if you can hold it, so you can manage your risk in terms of that. iTub, well, that kind of looks like an ascending triangle. You can break over $5. Yeah, sync could go to a very nice level, right? You break 5, then you have 538, then after that you have 572. So yeah, from a chart, from just like the price, it looks fine as long as you hold this demand line. Even had some classic bullish divergence on the daily. You can break over 5, it could run, but you definitely want to break over that before breaking under this demand line. Let's see, got a lot more tickers. But yeah, we need one more like tip, 40 likes. So keep hitting that like button if you're enjoying the stream, or don't if you're not. Skills, I think, is next. We already went over Bitcoin. It was like the first thing I went over in the stream, so you could just scroll back right to the beginning. It's a 50-50 in terms of technicals. I mean, you're out of support and a resistance area. Not a lot of data on the chart. I know a lot of people like this fundamentally, so I think it's more of a fundamental play maybe, rather than a technical play. I don't know. I have no clue for you on this either. Just really gappy. What's the daily volume? 237K. Looks like I've charted it before. So you have a resistance at 380, you have a support at 309, and you're right in the middle. So in terms of technicals, 50-50. GMBL, I swear, I'm not trying to escape these charts. These are just not the charts that I trade. So I can't really help you out in something I'm not experienced in. I feel like a lot of these charts are more fundamental catalyst plays. They're not really technical plays, which is completely fine. It's just like to each their own. But I just can't give you a technical answer when there's not really like a pattern, or you do have some divergence, sure. You have hidden bullish divergence, but it's just not really anything other than that. So I don't know anything about the company. If I knew anything about the company, I could help you out, but I don't, unfortunately. I can't know every company, right? XL, having issues getting back above the 200-day moving average. I think I talked about this last night. You need to break back above your 200-day. If you can't, bearish. If you can break back above it, bullish. Like that simple. Canoe looks pretty interesting. Nice bounce off the 1480 support. Looks pretty interesting. If you can hold above 1480, you're good. Bullish above 1480. Bearish under 1480. But again, that's literally it. CLII, there's not enough data on the chart for me to give you an answer, and I don't know anything about it. I think it's a SPAC maybe. Maybe it's not. But again, there's not much I can do there if I don't know anything about it. Square looks pretty decent. As long as you're over 243, you're good. Sending running wedge, and you broke back above this resistance. As long as you can hold above it, you're good. TRCH, I have no clue at all. That's like extremely 50-50 in terms of technicals. I mean, you have a support at 222. If that breaks, then your next support's like $2 from these highs, right? SOS, nice, it broke out. Yeah, I feel like the last few times I've looked at it, I've been saying it looks pretty good because of the hidden bullish divergence on the daily and the price contraction. You broke out of this to the upside. Good. I mean, very nice move, big move. It was up 10% today. It even filled a gap as well. So, I mean, entering here, there probably was much better entry areas, but up to your own risk tolerance. Your resistance is 877, support's 527. Again, a lot of these charts are just not things that I trade, so I'm trying my best here, but a lot of gappy, weird looking charts in terms of my trading style. So 331 is your resistance. If you can break above it, good. If you can't, not good. I'm sorry if that just sounds like stupid, but that's just the truth of, you know, charts like these. If you're a swing trader, right? If you're a swing trader based on technicals, when you see charts like these, you can't really do anything, because how do you like really manage your risk? Like, it's just not how I trade, unless I knew something about the company and I did some fundamental research, but I don't know anything about this company, right? Same exact thing here. So again, I'm not trying to sound like a broken record. There's obviously other places where you can find the answers to charts like these, I guess. I don't even know if there is any, but just a lot of these things sound more fundamental in terms of how they're moving with like the crazy price movements. But I mean, you're having some hidden bullish divergence playing out right now, which is good. That's like all I can give you there. I'm sorry. Chewy, EACB, OEG, EDOC. Is this a bear flag? Yeah, it could be. I think I talked about that last night. I don't like how it broke this line. Maybe it tries to double bottom. Maybe it just rallies again if the market rallies. Just not. I don't know if I'd really touch it unless it broke back above 86, because that's like the area you want to be above. So, of course, maybe long-term fundamentally this could be a value area. Let's see if you're holding like the parabola. No, you're definitely not. So you kind of broke that line as well. Yeah, look, right when you broke that, like, right when you broke like the trend is when it really fell. So I'm not too sure. PACB. Looks like I charted this at some point. I could definitely see a resistance at 35.71. If you break that, you're probably thinking 39 bucks next. But if you cannot break 35.71, then your support's like all the way down at 30 bucks. OEG, hidden bullish divergence playing out. Let me go on the weekly for this one. That's really volatile. Oh my gosh, wow. This thing just went from, is that real? Wow. In September, I don't know, let's just go to like the lows, okay? What's the lowest point? All right, so in August, this stock was about 50 cents, about half a dollar, okay? And this thing went all the way up to 11 bucks. So congratulations to whoever was in there. But at this point, I'm not too sure. Because again, I trade consistent charts. I don't really trade charts that look like these. Of course, the high volatility presents an opportunity. But unless I actually know anything about the company, I can't really give you an answer. Teladoc was, if you remember, I put out a watch list on Sunday. Teladoc was one of the stocks on that watch list. But I never put out the trade officially for Teladoc. But now it still looks pretty decent. I mean, even if you entered right here, that would be better than the original idea. So good I did not put out the trade. And you still get a 3-reward to risk. Hidden bullish divergence looks good on the daily. You're holding the 186 support. As long as you're above 186, looks pretty good. It was on the watch list over the weekend. Not the best start to the week. It actually gapped down today, could not fill the gap. But you just want to hold 186. Alright. So these will be its final 2 takers of the night. Keep hitting that like button. I don't know if we can hit 50 likes, but if 8 of you have not hit that like button, try your best. Kern. I think it's fine above 524, which was your support right here. But you're kind of struggling with the 200-day moving average. No. Not too sure. Pretty volatile. Nice day today though, for sure. MVIS, nice hidden bullish divergence on the daily. This looks pretty decent. Yeah, this looks pretty decent, not gonna lie. Look at this. I was charting it back here. That's very clear accumulation. Higher highs and higher lows. Then you got a nice move. But even over here, it looks pretty decent. Kind of like an inverse head and shoulders. A lot of stocks are looking like an inverse head and shoulders, and let me explain to you why that is, right? So inverse head and shoulders, hidden bullish divergence on the daily, looks pretty decent as long as it holds the low from today, which was 1530. Wow, big move throughout the day. But why are so many stocks showing an inverse head and shoulders? Boom, because the tech indexes, right? NASDAQ. So a lot of times you're going to see stocks looking very similar to indexes because the indexes represent the stocks. Like for an example, if you remember on this date when the market was like at the bottom area of the short-term pullback or correction, whatever you want to call it, what happened to so many stocks? They all put in those hammer candles, if you remember, right? This hammer candle, right? Pretty much like all of them. Hammer, not on this one. Hammer candles. You know what I'm saying? Like literally like half the stocks I looked at put in those hammer candles on March 5th. And do you guys remember how bullish I was on that close on March 5th? And when when it was at the lows, when I was saying I was bullish on the market when people were panicking. So like that day, March 5th was such a big buying signal. And that is why I used that for last week's trades. And that's why we crushed the trades last week, right? These were the trades last week. Because I saw on the week before that week, on the Friday, that it was a pretty clear buy signal on many stocks, and it ended up playing out very nicely. So, yep, futures around the same level, pretty much just still around their all-time highs, up about 1/3% on the S&P 500. Looks good for now. Hopefully it holds. They're just kind of going sideways right now. We can just look at like the 5-minute. You can see they opened up, they started moving upwards, now they're just kind of going sideways. So yeah, that's gonna do it. We covered the market, we covered the trades, we covered Bitcoin, we covered chat requests. We got to the point. I know the streams have been shorter lately, but it's been a very straightforward market for many days. Not too all over the place, very consistent, and great bounce today for sure. How did you do in the pullbacks of September and October? I did great in those pullbacks. Those were two of my biggest months. Well, I don't know if they were my biggest months, but I definitely, like, the market was having, I remember, it was like the double bottom, right? Back over here. Like, this is what you're talking about. I did pretty well during those months. Yeah, that's literally it. It's just like, that area was also very clear. Like, I was, even back then, like, if you guys remember how many times I've been trying to anticipate where the market could be heading next in this pattern, even back here, and I was not even streaming then, it was super easy to kind of anticipate this move. So right over here, right, there was hidden bearish divergence on S&P on the daily. It was even on like all the indexes pretty much, right? From this high to this high, it made a lower high. Then from this high on the MACD to the next one, it made a higher high. So right when we were up here, I still remember that day. It was literally, and it was so awesome, like how perfectly I timed it. Literally, like this day, I went all in cash pretty much. I think aside from like maybe Fisker when it was SPAC, that was like the only thing I held. But yeah, definitely I was not really heavily exposed in the market for like this. Pretty much October, I was really only playing SPAC. And SPAC did not have a good October, or Fisker, but yeah. Let's look at Fisker in October. Right, Fisker had a horrible October. So what I was kind of doing in October was I was like, I did not hold it. I did not enter Fisker here and I did not hold it the whole entire way down. What I ended up doing on this is like I entered, then I stopped out, then I entered, then I stopped out. Then even on a couple days, I actually made short. I'm not even joking. It was actually on my first ever video on Fisker. I actually showed how I made profit. Yes, I wasn't even shorting it. Okay, I was not even shorting Fisker. On this move right here, I literally made profit on a few days. Just playing the bounces, because the 1 hour chart on Fisker works out really well for whatever reason. Like these bounces, look. Like I was day trading these bounces on Fisker, like that bounce, like a bunch of them. So that's like kind of where all this started. I'm not even joking. That's like when I started putting out tweets and stuff. Historical times. It's been a crazy run since then for Fisker and for the whole entire movement. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully that was helpful. Pretty nice bounce in the market. Hopefully things do well tomorrow. Hopefully Clover does well tomorrow with the breakout and everything and the crazy buying volume after hours, but nothing's ever certain, so manage your risk, trade safely, and we'll see what happens, alright? Everybody have a good night. Happy St. Patrick's Day again. And yeah, drop a like on the way out. We need 2 more people to hit the like button for 50 likes. If you ever want to send me a tip, oh my gosh, what? That is insane timing. Scrooge with a $30 donation. Thank you very much, Scrooge, for all the tips you've sent over the last couple of months. Scrooge said, thanks for all the knowledge, ideas, and for not giving any financial advice. You are welcome for me not giving financial advice. Yeah, but thank you very much, Scrooge, for the $30. Awesome way to close out the stream. If anybody else wants to send a tip, that's the pinned comment in the chat. You guys know the drill. One more like tip, 50 likes. Appreciate all the tips tonight. And yeah, trade safely tomorrow. Get a good night of sleep. Something tells me tomorrow is going to be a little bit volatile. Now, that could be in a good way too, but why am I saying that? Because on literally every single stock, they've been trading on low volume up until this afternoon. Like literally the whole entire week. Just look at the volume bars down here, right? Like I'm gonna go through a bunch of stocks. Just look how the volume has been decreasing on like every single stock. Okay, look, decreasing, 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 decreasing. Just look at the volume, like these bars right over here. So a lot of stocks have been trading on low volume like for the past like week and a half. Like literally, like I'm just looking through all the trades right now. So, and then this afternoon when the whole entire news came out, that's when volume started picking back up. So I think tomorrow we might get a higher volume day for a lot of stocks. I mean, people are getting their stimulus money into their trading accounts. We'll see what happens, but yeah, my eyes are currently on Clover. If you follow me on Twitter, then that's very obvious, but I don't care if I talk about Clover all day because the trade's already so much in profit. So that's that. Have a good one. Thank you for all the tips, for all the likes. Appreciate all the support. And Sean trying to hit the like button. The like button is like if you take yourself out of full screen, then you look like right under where your video of the stream is. It'll show like a thumbs up and a thumbs down. But appreciate you trying. And yeah, everybody have a good one. Peace out.
Dos, tres. ¡Vamos!